What is going on, everybody? This is another challenge tutorial all about decoys, and I'm going to follow this one up with another challenge tutorial about deflections. They are very, very similar. The difference being, you can kind of think of one being repelling and one being attracting. A decoy is when you attract a piece to a bad square, and then a deflection is when you repel a piece away from a good square. So in this video, you are not repelling, you are attracting. The exact definition of decoy before we get started is, in chess, decoying is the tactic of luring a piece, usually the king or queen, onto a particular square through the means of a sacrifice on that square, from which the piece's new placement can be exploited to obtain an advantage. We're going to kick things off with an easy one, but I promise you it's not going to stay that way for very long. This position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is pawn to c7 check, and it is a decoy because we are luring one of the pieces to capture on c7. If they didn't and they just evaded the check, then we would obviously capture the queen and promote one of our own and go on to win. So they can either capture the pawn with the queen or the king. If they capture with the king, we can go ahead and fork the royalty with knight to a6. And if they capture with the queen, we can fork the royalty with knight to e6. Regardless, same thing on both sides. When the king gets out of check, we capture the queen, and they'll recapture our knight with their king. And now they have insufficient material to win. So we have evaded the loss and came out with a draw. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is bishop to b5 check. And the bishop is a decoy because we are drawing the queen to the b5 square and capture. If it didn't and the king moved or blocked the check, the bishop would capture the queen. So after the decoy is taken out on b5, what that allows us to do is now check the king and fork the royalty on b5. Once the king moves out of check, we go ahead and pick up the queen, and that's a winning game from here. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Rook to f7 check is going to be the decoy. If the king just moves out of check, then we can pick up the queen, and this is going to be easy victory from here. So what's going to happen is the black queen is going to capture the rook, and we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video one more time. 1, 2, and 3. The move knight to g5, forking the royalty. We'll pick up the queen once the king moves. And just to throw it out there, you couldn't move the knight in the beginning because it was in fact pinned by the queen. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The move is queen to f8 check, and that is a decoy, and black must recapture because there's no other moves. After the king recaptures the queen, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The only winning move is rook to d8 checkmate. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The move is queen to d8 check, and that's a decoy forcing the king to recapture and move to the d8 square. For the continuation, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The move is bishop to g5 check, and it's also a discovered check with a rook, a double check. The black's king has to move since it's a double check, and after the king goes to e8, rook to d8 is checkmate. It is white to move here. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The stunning move is queen to h1 check. And this is a decoy forcing the black queen to capture on h1. The only other option black has is to get out of the way of check, and then the black queen would fall, and that would be a game over shortly there. So after the black queen captures the white queen, Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Well, the move is promoting to a queen on h8, and that comes with check. Once the king sidesteps, you pick up the black queen, and you should have an easy game from there. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is a rook to g4 check. The king is not going to move to one of the 2 available squares because then the queen would fall to our rook. So instead, the queen is going to take on the decoy and be pulled to the g4 square like we intended. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The move is pawn to f6 check, and that's a discovered attack on the black queen as well. Doesn't matter if the black king captures on f6, moves to g6 or h6, the black queen will get scooped up, and that's a winning position from here. In this position, it is white to move. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The first move is knight to f6 check, and black only has 1 move, putting the king on h8. Give you 3 seconds to pause to figure out the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The move is bishop to g7 check, and that is a decoy. The king literally only has 1 move, and that is capturing the bishop. So we have attracted their piece to the square we wanted, g7. After the king captures, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Knight to e8 forks the royalty, and once the king moves to either of the squares available, we can go ahead and pick up the black queen, and we have a winning position from here. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The move is rook to h8 check, and that is a decoy. The bishop or the king can capture. If the king captures the decoy, give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The queen can go ahead and capture the h6 pawn with check, and the only move is king to g8, and then we can finish it off with queen capture bishop on g7 for checkmate. Instead of the king picking up the decoy, if the bishop picks up the decoy, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video for this one. 1, 2, and 3. The move here now is queen to f7 check. The only move is blocking with the bishop on g7, and then we can pick up the bishop for checkmate. Finishing this challenge tutorial off with a question. This last position, is it a decoy or is it a deflection? Decoy or deflection? Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. White to move. 1, 2, and 3. Proper move is bishop to f7 check. Remind you, is this a decoy or a deflection? Black king captures the bishop, and we come in and get their queen for free. That's going to go ahead and wrap things up for me. In the comments, drop a line. Let me know if you think that last problem was a deflection or a decoy. I'm going to go ahead and start cracking away on a whole new challenge tutorial straight about deflections. I hope you learned something in this one, and if not, hopefully the next. I appreciate every last one of you. See you on the next.